About a year ago, after 5 middle-aged women from the rural parts of Ghana who are victims of the stigma attached to infertility shared their narratives to GBC News, a similar concern in their submissions was the unavailability of fertility centers in most parts of the country and also their inability to afford in vitro fertilization (IVF) despite their desire to have a baby and also avoid stigma. Just like the size of a coin, the converse has some fortunate ones who have easy access to the few fertility centers in the country and may have gone through fertility treatment and procedures like the most expensive type, which is the IVF, to have babies. However, some say in vitro fertilization (IVF) procedure comes with its own complexities. Eja, as he's affectionately called, is 78 years old but never had a child, despite settling down with 3 women. According to him, none of the women conceived and he couldn't tell if he was at fault. He has also never been to a fertility center or sought medical attention for that.
A chinam tea was one of them of Praco. Of our baby, I'm the Chiramsi, the belly.
2 years, dear.
After months of searching for women who had undergone IVF and willing to share their stories on condition of anonymity, Lady Luck shone, and there came Nena, who bared it all. She is a Nigerian from Abia State but has lived in Ghana with her husband since 2015. In many ways, she's a typical IVF patient and a mother of a toddler, a 2-year-old boy through IVF, and through the same procedure, she's pregnant with twins. After going through 3 unsuccessful IVF procedures, Nena, with some form of encouragement from her husband, decided to try the procedure for the 4th time at a different fertility center in the Greater Accra region.
After the third procedure, my husband said I fainted. I didn't know. He said I just slumped and at the hospital only because they were so careless. They were only worried about them leaving, or even if you have another appointment, you have to make sure your patient is okay. I was still drugged up. They just said, oh, we can go. So in the elevator, my husband was like, I slumped. What if I had died? They would have said, oh, sorry. No, it's not fair. Some doctors, it's not. Some doctors are just after their money. Like, I'm giving up. Like, that's it. Maybe I'm not meant to. He said, no, don't say that. Let's just keep going. So after that, I said I wasn't going to go to that hospital anymore. That's when we decided to go to Leicester. A friend of mine actually told me to go to Leicester, but that was before I did the second one at the other hospital. But I don't know. Maybe I didn't listen. Maybe I should have, or maybe the timing wasn't right. But after the 3rd one, I said, okay, fine. We went to Leicester. That's when I met Dr. Hiaji, and I told him, he asked me what was going on. I told him everything. He said, okay. We started off with, what is it called? I forgot what it was called. Where they scratch your womb or something. That sometimes something would happen naturally, but nothing happened. So we decided, okay, I told him, let's just go straight to the IVF. When we were doing the procedure, I was actually more comfortable with him doing it. I wasn't skeptical about it, and I didn't have any negative thoughts. I don't know, for some reason I knew it was gonna work. So I went through that. I did the procedure. I stayed at the hospital for 5 days. Then after that, they give you an appointment 2 weeks to come in and do the pregnancy test. And I went in. Actually, I didn't go in. My husband did. And I was so nervous. I was very, very. I was home and he went there. So I was always calling to ask, okay, so what happened? What's the result? Whatever. So he called me. He was like, oh, It worked. You're pregnant. I was like, what? I cried so much. I was like, oh my God. I was happy. I was very, 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 very happy. After remember I did it 3 times at the previous hospital, then I went to Dr. Hianji. So that was the 4th time. And it works. I guess there are some things that was done differently. Which, because after doing the procedure, you're really not supposed, you can decide to go home, but it's not really, you're not, if the doctor is good, he wouldn't advise you to go home because of the bumpy roads and everything. So you're supposed to stay and they're supposed to watch you. Some people feel like IVF is like a bad thing, or it's not real, or it's, I don't know, like you're getting a fake baby. No, it's your eggs, your husband's sperm put together. They're just helping you place it at the right place so that it could everything is just, honestly, is in God's hands. Because people that have done it, I know someone that have done it 8 times, still has not worked.
Naina, recounting the emotional and psychological stress she encountered along her IVF journey, said that she continuously injected herself for a period of 2 months.
There's one that they give you on the stomach, and then they give you you have to come in a certain time. 2 days after that injection, you have to go in and do the procedure. Yes. Before then, they just give you regular medication, regular hormones medication. You take that for like 1 month, and then you come in. They scan you. If everything is okay, they give you that injection. After that, you go in and they put the babies in. It has to grow the eggs, and that's painful because you get bloatings, your stomach. But believe me, at the end of the day, it's worth it. It was worth it. It took a lot, and I hate needles. It got to a point that I was injecting myself because they'll give it to you to go home. You have to do it for a certain amount of days, and then you go back after that. You do a scan.
How many days did you see yourself injecting needles?
More than 2 months. Yes.
The
More than
reactions
2
or
months.
what were the
Because there's
reactions?
you get mood swings. Like, you go through a lot. Believe me, you go through a lot. But at the end, believe me, it's worth it. You go through a lot. I find myself crying at times for no reason. Because of the injections, the hormones, everything. It was just raging up. But thank God I have a husband that understood that. And
Although IVF allows many people to become parents, it's way out of the pocket range of many. Others use their savings, sometimes relying on a small family inheritance or taking out loans for the procedure. She went from one hospital to the other and shared the cost involved in all the 4 IVF procedures and how she is still paying for the storage of embryos at the fertility treatment center.
apart from the medication, the injections and everything, the procedure itself is 8,000 cedis. Not counting when you count the medications and everything,
Approximately, let's get that figure.
probably up to 20,000 cedis. Yeah. So, but it didn't work. The second time we did it again, nothing. The third time, it seemed like nothing was even done. So after that, I told my husband was always encouraging me, no, don't stop. Because I was like, I'm giving up. Like, that's it. Maybe I'm not meant to. He said, no, don't say that. Let's just keep going. So after that, I said I wasn't going to go to that hospital anymore. That's when we decided to go to Lister. And you have to pay for the eggs being stored for you.
Okay.
So we're paying yearly. There's one medication in particular we had to pay, if I'm not mistaken, it was more than 2,000. It was more than 2,000, just one medication. So they have to do something. Even if it's just saying, okay, we'll take care of the medication, pay for the procedure. You understand what I mean?
Stigma from infertility is higher among women than men, making women the primary target for something that is equally as likely to be caused by both of them. Fortunately for Naina, her experience was quite different from what many women go through when they are unable to take seed. She was not stigmatized by the pressure on some of her friends from society, family, and friends triggered some apprehension.
Thank God I have I have in-laws that they have never worried me. Even when I was worried myself, they still encouraged me. Oh, it's okay. God's time is the best. This is the, you understand what I mean? Normally, it's the woman that will be saying it to the in-laws, but I don't know. Some in-laws are evil. They'll
So
even
your friend, this friend of yours that
oh, they are maybe now they have
the
actually
pressure on her. What
they have
happened?
they pressured her. Oh my God, what name have they not called her? It gets gotten to a point they actually wanted the husband to go marry someone else, to go, even if it's just getting someone pregnant. I'm like, but that's not fair. It's not right. It's really not. I don't know. It's not fair, honestly. They have to understand that it's not the same from their time and our time now. It's not. It's not that easy anymore. And I don't know why. But I guess some people just don't care. I guess after marriage they expect you, yes, it's time to have babies. Let's go. I had a friend that, let me tell you, I had a friend that also did IVF. When she got married, for like 5 years, she didn't have kids. She didn't have nothing. It didn't even happen for her to say, okay, I got pregnant and I lost it. No. She didn't have any kids. So come to find out, when I told her, I was like, why don't you guys go get tested? Like, run some tests, find out what's going on. Come to find out, she was actually blaming herself. She was like, oh, maybe it's me, this, da, da, da. I was like, just go run a test. You never know. Come to find out, it was actually the husband. It had nothing to do with her. The husband had really, 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 really low sperm count. Like really low, extremely low. So they had to do the IVF. And luckily for her, oh my God, I was so happy. Luckily for her, the first time she did it, boom, she got twins, a boy and a girl. And she's okay. She's fine now. She tried doing it again. It didn't work. But that's what I was like. You have to be grateful. That's okay.
The years of effort, expending every resource, draining savings, sleepless nights, and stress-filled workdays all seem to fade away at the baby's first piercing cry. Nina's face lights up at this fond memory. Nina's fourth procedure was successful. I followed up to meet the chief executive officer of the facility, who for the past 16 years has put smiles on the faces of many childless couples at this 24-hour facility.
If you're able to get 10 eggs from the wife, all you need is 10 sperms, 10 good sperms. So these sperms are injected into the eggs, and because the two DNAs come together, there's a higher chance for fertilization. All right? So that was started for men, but we've gone on to use that for other reasons as well, like the older woman. As they grow older, the shell gets harder, and so fertilization is even poorer in the older woman. But when you do ICSI in the older woman, you have a higher fertilization rate, you know. And even to the extent that sometimes you try to do assisted hatching, where after fertilization you slice the shell to make it easier for the embryo to come out. So there's so many levels of treatment that you would use depending on what you make as a final diagnosis for the reason for the infertility in the couple.
IVF has raised the issue of affordability in the country, where only a section of the people can afford the procedure. On cost, Dr. Hiaji admits that not all couples can afford it, and they tend to lose an opportunity to go through with the procedure, which has an appreciable success rate. He called for urgent assistance from government to subsidize the cost of treatment to make it accessible to all couples in need of the procedure.
Yeah, it is expensive. The inputs are so much. And then, sadly, hardly do we get any of the inputs locally. You have to import everything from outside. And they are not cheap outside either. For Ghana, I would say that IVF to ICSI would range between 20 to 30,000 Ghana cedis for you to be able to do one of those. You know, so how many people can afford that? it is very difficult. Sometimes people have to sell property in order to do that. And it's just sad that you wish you could give them a guarantee that, oh, once you can do that, once you can pay, you would get pregnant. But it isn't so. Sometimes everything seems good, and you are quite sure this person is going to get pregnant, but they don't. So we are not God. We can do the best that we can. But normally, after you've managed to get the sperm, because there are times the men come with no sperm at all. And we have to go into the testis to get sperms out, and then use that to inject into the eggs, form the baby, put it back in. Once you've put the baby back in, that's it. You don't have any control again. You can't do anything more than support them with the right hormones, injections and suppositories and tablets that are required, and wait for 2 weeks to know whether it works or not. And I think we're providing just about 7% of IVF in all the centers combined for what Ghana's population should require. So it shows you that over 90% are not getting IVF that is required to help them to achieve the pregnancy that they need. You know, so there are many people out there who would benefit from it but cannot afford it. There are many times I throw in my workmanship, because you can't throw in the cost of the inputs, otherwise you can't run the center. But there are times I've thrown in my workmanship. That means the charge that the one who does it may be paid just to support. But you can't do that on a regular basis. Yeah. If even people's insurance could take up the drugs, and then the people themselves will foot the cost of the procedure, that will help people some way. But most insurance companies don't want to sponsor any fertility work. Sadly, they're still refusing to accept that it is a disease, which is what WHO counts infertility as a disease. So that just as government should provide for malaria, for chest infection, for kidney infection, they should provide for infertility. But no, the provision will have to be made at a certain level. Right now, we are working on completing the regulations. Okay, we've met with Ministry of Health and other stakeholders already. It's yet to go to Parliament for them to make it an act, and then we can then have a stronger voice, because for some time when you're pushing for this, they say, oh, but you people are not even regulated. People are doing so many things here and there. But that is almost through now. And we will continue to push to get more people to have the opportunity to access these services, because there are many families that there are issues mainly because of childlessness, and there's a lot of domestic violence on women who are infertile. We know very well about that. Marital disputes because of that, and divorce because of that. So much goes on just because of infertility. And we are happy to help from our end, but there must be some collective effort from government and other agencies to push for support for those who can afford it.
Dr. Hiaji spoke about the hidden burden of infertility due to the stigma attached to it. One of the most important areas in this procedure is the IVF theatre and recovery room. Dr. Hiaji walks us through the process involved from sperm selection, fertilization to the storage stages.
To see the eggs and collect them, and then they are passed through this window. They go into the IVF lab. That is the microscope where they receive the eggs and look at them. It's a high-powered microscope which will show on the screen, and then they remove the eggs from it. After that, these are also incubators. Okay, they use special gases, which we have to even import that. Okay, and then right here, maybe just take manipulator that is used for the ICSI. Yeah, it's a very fine machine, because to hold that egg, which you can't even see, is less than a dot, but you have to hold it with suction and then try and inject the sperm in it. It's no small feat. And then further is where we store the eggs. Yeah, you won't be able to see those today. Okay?
Okay.
Good.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Yearning to have a child and not being able to get pregnant is heartbreaking. But luckily, there is now a modern option using medical technology to get pregnant. But the ultimate question is how affordable IVF can be made for all couples to have and hold a little bundle of joy, and also ensuring that fertility centers are available in most parts of the country, especially the rural areas of Ghana. For GBC News, Oferiwa Darko reporting.